Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word Live and to the qualifying watch along for the Bahrain Grand Prix. How are we all doing? In chat, hope you're all well. Looking forward to yet another cracking qualifying session. Great one in Australia, as I recall, particularly FP1 and FP2. So fingers crossed we'll get some action just like that one. And a bit of unpredictability in Q3 will be quite nice. Looks as though Ferrari are the favourites going into this session. We'll talk a little bit more about them later, make some predictions as well towards the end of the first part of this stream, just before we get to the watch-along screen. But I'm going to kick things off, as I tend to do in these watch-alongs, by having a quick look back to FP3 and the result there. And it was Charles Leclerc faster than teammate Sebastian Vettel, a 129.5. Sebastian Vettel in second place, 129.7. Is that the third consecutive top two lockout? So that's all three sessions Ferrari top two lockouts, I think, this weekend, certainly in FP1. Lewis Hamilton in third place, late surge in the session from Mercedes, 130.3. Bottas made a mistake on his final run, just missing out on pipping his teammate to third, 130.3 for him. Romain Grosjean once again looking very good, Haas, this weekend, 130.8 for him. Nico Hülkenberg, I know it's only practice, but considerably quicker, really, than his teammate Daniel Ricciardo, 130.9 in sixth place. Lando Norris, seventh for McLaren. They look as though they've got some pace again this weekend, at least over one lap. Whether that'll translate into the race, we'll see. Max Verstappen, curiously, down in 8th place for Red Bull. They lost a bit of time yesterday, so I don't know what they were doing really in FP3 today. Maybe a bit of catch-up work, 133.9. 130.9 as well for Carlos Sainz in the second McLaren. Good to see him up there. And Daniel Kvyat rounding out the top 10 with a 131.3. 131.1, sorry. But what I will say, let's have a look at this. Romain Grosjean, 130.8, down to Carlos Sainz in 9th, 130.9, nothing. There is nothing between them. This midfield is so close, and I cannot wait for this weekend, the whole of this season. It's going to be cracking. Kimi Räikkönen, I'm so old. Kimi Räikkönen for Alpha, 131.3 in 11th place. Pierre Gasly, 12th for Red Bull, 131.3 as well. It is so tight. Kevin Magnussen, 13th, 131.5. Needs to find some pace, as does Pierre Gasly, to be fair. Lance Stroll, 14th, 131.6. Just ahead of teammate Sergio Perez, also on a 131.6. Daniel Ricciardo, also on a 131.6. And Alexander Albon, also on a 131.6. This is going to be mad. Antonio Giovinazzi, a 132.1. And then the Williams boys, well adrift as kind of expected. George Russell, 1.2 seconds off Antonio Giovinazzi with a 33.3. And Robert Kubica, a two tenths further back on a 33.525. So it's not looking all that good at the moment for Williams, as, to be fair, I think we were kind of expecting. There's going to be no overnight solution down at Williams, but there has been some movement at Williams, and I think really, although I'd like to talk about a bit more about practice and some predictions and that, and we will get onto that, I think we do need to start down at Williams. And Patrick Head is returning. He is back at Williams in an advisory role, I think is the official line. It's good to see him back. It is good to see him back, and I think if anybody's going to whip that team into shape, it's going to be Patrick Head. He does not mess about and does not take any nonsense from anybody, so I think that is a great appointment for Williams. It's a shame they're having to go backwards, if you like, in terms of looking for staff to try and sort out the mess. It is a shame that they can't find someone within their ranks, but they need experience there, and with Paddy Lowe walking away, Rob Smedley gone as well, something's got to give. They need to bring somebody in, and I do like Patrick Head. I remember growing up as a kid back in Dare, he didn't take any nonsense. He was quite happy to say what he thought to the press. He was quite happy to say what he thought to the team. And they were a completely different animal with Sir Frank and Sir Patrick there. So hopefully he's going to make a difference. But it is just an advisory role at the moment. I don't know how long he'll be there. I'd imagine it's short term. That appears to be what the reports are saying, that it is just a short-term fix, if you like, almost like a band-aid, which is a little bit concerning, but at least they're trying something, Williams. They need to. A long way off the pace once again in practice. So good to see him there. I don't know what you guys think. Are you happy to see him back? Do you think they maybe should have gone and found somebody maybe a little bit, it sounds awful, doesn't it? A bit younger, who could maybe be there a little bit more long-term, rather than bringing somebody in, trying to make the changes, and that person leaving, then having to try and replace somebody like Patrick Head again. Do you know what I mean? It seems it's a good move. It's a good move, and it's going to help the team massively. But then if he does sort of get the team into shape and then leaves, that's a big void to fill. So that's my only question mark over it. But like I said twice now, if anybody's going to sort him out, it is going to be Patrick Head. So good stuff. Good to see him back. It is good to see him back. It feels like the 90s. It feels like the 90s again. Love it. The other thing I want to talk about as well, just on the news front, you'll see it scrolling along the bottom of the screen. The FIA have said that they will install a second set of start lights halfway down the grid before the start of this weekend or this Sunday's Bahrain Grand Prix. Obviously, there was a lot of concern after Australia. I think Robert Kubica said something, Pierre Gasly as well, about I think Carlos Sainz possibly too, about the higher rear wings, made it difficult for the drivers at the back of the grid to see the lights. So they are going to install a second set of lights halfway down to try and combat that, which it's good that they're reacting. But it's very odd that that's not something that was taken into account or wasn't spotted. But then how are you supposed... Yeah, I suppose actually thinking about it, Sean, off the top of my head there, how are you supposed to spot that unless you're lined up on the grid ready to go? You're not really, are you? So it's a shame they didn't find that before Australia, because I know it compromised Gasly's start, I think Sainz as well, and Kubica, who also they had to react to the cars around them rather than the gantry, the lights. So at least they're working on that. At least they're fixing that problem for this weekend before the race. So that's good stuff as well. But we will... I think that's all. There was a couple of bits I wanted to cover. Ferrari, it's scrolling along the bottom. Mattia Binotto saying that this talk of cooling issues in Australia is nonsense. He's pretty much rubbished that one. And Bahrain is a damn sight hotter than Australia is, even during the night pretty much. So they don't appear to have any cooling issues at the moment. They certainly look like the team to beat this weekend. But then we said that after testing, and it all didn't go that way in Australia, did it? But we'll see. So yeah, that's been rubbished pretty much. And one story I do, because I know some people, I love your comments sometimes in the comment sections on Cyril Abitbol. I think some of you call him Cyril a bitchbull, I think is what a lot of people say. But he's been told to stop complaining about B teams following criticism that came Toro Rosso's way in Melbourne, which is absolutely brilliant. So it was all about the technical director thing and then bitching about the whole having to B cars and all that. But Franz Tost has told him to keep his gob shut, basically, and stop his complaining about it. So lots of banter up and down the paddock at the moment and the pit lane regarding 2021. But yes, he does moan a bit, doesn't he, does Cyril? You can sort of understand that. I get his concerns over B teams and B cars, but there you go. What are you going to do? It's working for Haas. They're not going to get that. If they can keep that agreement, they will. It's working for, not really B team, but you know what I mean. It works for Alfa, it works for Toro Rosso, so I don't really know why there's such a fuss around it. If they can sort out the costs for 2021, as we were kind of talking about yesterday, then yeah, get rid of B teams. But until they have sorted that problem out and teams can be competitive on a lower budget, then it's a solution for teams like Haas, who have got a small workforce and have got a very small budget, and Williams, who are struggling as well, and Toro Rosso. So I don't think it's that big a deal, but I think they'll disappear quite quickly. Cyril is a moaner, says Annette. Hello, Annette. Hope you're feeling better. Flying Tiger, Squirrel Irritable. Do you know, the Flying Tiger, if you are a regular in the comment section, he does come up with some crackers sometimes. We disagree quite often, which is fair enough, but yeah, he does come up with some corkers. Right, Ferrari. As I've said, they look like the favourites at the moment, but they were pretty quick in, or at least competitive in practice in Australia. Obviously not to the level they are at the moment, but I'm pretty confident they're on for pole position today. But then the problem is, I think as Nico Rosberg said on the Sky build-up coverage or in one of the practice sessions earlier, the problem is you can't discount Lewis Hamilton over one lap. He can rock up with a car that's not so great and then boom. You know what I mean? He can quite easily put a lap in, as we've seen so many times over the years. So you can't really write him out and say 100% Ferrari are on pole, but they look very, very good at the moment. 7/10 clear as well in FP3. That is a big gap. A few people saying that Merc are sandbagging. I think if we're still sandbagging in Bahrain, then, you know, move on. Teams, come on, let's see what you've got. But I know what you mean. We won't have seen everything from Mercedes in practice. Of course we haven't. We haven't from Red Bull. We won't have seen everything from Ferrari, even though they admitted yesterday they were running higher engine modes, and there's a strong possibility they were today. But we're not going to see everything from every team in practice because they just never do. 15 minutes to qualifying. Don't worry, then we'll head over to the watch long screen. But yeah, I think Ferrari looking good at the moment. As I said in the little rundown of the result there, one concern I've got for this weekend is one Daniel Ricciardo. really, really worried about, well off the pace, really, of his teammate. I mean, that midfield is tight, and I know that we're talking a couple of tenths in some instance, but looking at the FP3 result again, just very quickly, he is 131.6, his teammates are 30.9, so he's a fair way off his teammates' pace, and he's been that way all weekend so far. So I don't know if it's just taking him a bit of time to settle at Renault. You know, Hülkenberg's been there a couple of years now at least, so he's already settled into that team, feet under the table. Maybe it's just going to take a little bit of time for Ricciardo to get up to speed, or is it just that Hülkenberg's going to be tough competition for him this year? We have to remember, Daniel Ricciardo's never driven anything but a Red Bull sort of car. He's always been in either a Toro Rosso or a Red Bull. He's never drifted away from that team, so he will be used to having people around him who know exactly how he likes that car and exactly how he likes to be around a race weekend, whereas he's gone to a new team who have different routines, who might not quite understand how he likes the car. It might take a few weekends for him to get going. There was a question on Sky, actually, people talking about how long before he starts to get a hit in his confidence, how hard his confidence is going to get hit by a slow start to the season, if that's what he's going to have. But I don't think Daniel Ricciardo is someone that's going to get hit too hard. If you look at what he went through last year, and most weekends he was still smiling at the end of it and still racing hard. You look at the terrible time he had through the summer and running up to Mexico. Then he goes and sticks it on pole in Mexico. So I'm not convinced it's going to hit him too hard in terms of confidence. But Nico Hülkenberg is going to be tough to beat this season for Daniel Ricciardo. And, you know, really struggling at the first few races could be quite costly for him come the end of the year. So I'm not massively concerned for him right now, but it's not the best start to the season or the start of the season I was expecting from him. I thought he was going to turn up in that Renault, take control of that team, get his feet under the table, and start getting everything around him ready for 2021. And he's just not. He's just not done it. So we'll see. We have only had one race. We are only halfway, if you like, through the second race weekend of the season. So after this weekend, there's still 19 to go. We'll see. We will see. So like I say, not massively concerned, but there is enough concern there to bring it up in sort of a conversation. And we'll take some of your comments in a moment. I do want to go through some stats. I do love stats. Lights Out have just tweeted. Thank you very much to those guys for everything in the preview as well, by the way. Brilliant to get that stuff in there. I know some of you are really liking some of the additions to the previews with some of the stats I'm throwing in there. But top 10 qualifying in Bahrain. So most top 10 appearances since the Bahrain Grand Prix was first on the calendar back in 2004. Ferrari have 26, comfortably more than anybody else. Next up were McLaren on 16 and Red Bull also on 16. Williams have had 15 top 10 qualifying in Bahrain. Wow, how times have changed. Mercedes have also had 15 with Renault on 13. What else have we got? 8 for Racing Point stroke Force India stroke whatever they are this week. 6 for Sauber as they would be with that one. So Alfa Romeo, Sauber, however you want to look at it. 4 for Toro Rosso and 3 obviously for Haas. They've not been around that many years, so that's understandable. So Ferrari comfortably the most top 10 appearances in qualifying in Bahrain. I think they've had they were pole last year with Sebastian Vettel. So it's definitely a track they enjoy. I think they've won, I can't remember the stat from the preview now. They've won quite a few. They've won quite a few in Bahrain. It's definitely a track they enjoy. So it's going to be good. Obviously, we can't read too much into that stat. It's a nice stat. Can't read too much into it because teams like Haas haven't been around very long, and we're going back to the early 2000s when McLaren and Williams were still fairly competitive. So we have to just obviously take that with a pinch of salt, but it's always nice to have a little bit of a stat. Again, I will come to some comments and predictions in just a second. Just to let you know, last year's pole time was a 1:27.9 set by Sebastian Vettel. And I want us to try, if we can between us, I will keep it up on the screen, but if we can try and remember between us, the slowest lap last year was Lance Stroll on a 1:31.5 in the Williams. The reason I want to remember that is because that's going to give us a rough indication, because I didn't do this for Australia, a rough indication as to just how bad Williams are in terms of their pace. If they're anywhere near the pace they were on last year on a 31.5 in qualifying, they could be in trouble. They could be in trouble. I mean, they are in trouble. Let's be honest, they are. So, predictions. I get through so much in this half an hour. I know I'm basically just bombarding you with information, but we've had quite a bit to talk about this weekend. I'm sure there's something that I've not... The spare parts thing for Williams, by the way, Claire Williams has said is no longer an issue, and they had a DRS issue this morning as well with their car, but that's all been sorted too. I feel like there's something I'm missing, but I don't... Oh, there it is on my list. Hey, top of the list. Why not? Qualifying. super quickly while we're on it. There is still the possibility we could end up with 4 qualifying sessions in 2020. I believe the format is obviously Q1, 2, 3, 4, losing 4 cars from Q1, 2 and Q3, and then an 8-car shootout in Q4. It was discussed at the strategy meeting this week, so it's back on the table. It's back on the table. There's just some question marks over which tyre people would have to start on from which session and things like that. So it's possibly going to happen. I'm not a big fan of it. I think it's another example of Liberty Media and Formula One trying to fix something that isn't broken. It's not the end of the world if they go with a Q4, because we've still fundamentally got the same format. It's a knockout session. But there are a lot of issues around Formula One that need to be resolved, and qualifying is not one of them. So that's my only problem with it. But like I say, it's not one of those things, if it gets implemented, where I'm going to kick up a big fuss. It's not going to make a huge difference, except you've got 8 cars going for pole instead of 10. And as we see, sometimes you've got 8 cars that are competitive and then 2 cars that are there because they had a good lap in Q2 and aren't really in the shootout. So, like I say, not a big deal, but it's just something worth mentioning. Predictions. You've been popping yours in the chat. I will come over to you now. I didn't pop out my chat before I got started. Thank you to everyone that's tuning in. 1,200 at the moment, which is awesome for qualifying. Do subscribe if you're new. And you get to listen to my terrible, cheesy commentary in about 9 minutes' time when the session gets going. Last time I had a little quick... I don't tend to listen back, but I did have a listen back after Australia qualifying, and I was so all over the place with Q1 and Q2 because nobody knew what was going on. It was chaos. It was brilliant. I'm very much hoping for the same. And yes, indeed, don't forget to hit that like button as well, says Belschnickel. I do butcher names if you're new as well, by the way, so yeah, I apologise in advance. Predictions. Right, let's see. So, where's the first lot coming in? And we'll go from there. We'll give as many a quick shout out as I can while I'm doing this. So, David says Vettel, Verstappen, Leclerc. Verstappen, that's a surprise. That's a surprise. Leclerc for pole, says Akash. Good in FP3. Good in FP3. Again, only testing or only practice. Leclerc, Vettel, Bottas, Leclerc, Hamilton, Vettel. That's a... Oh... That'll put the cat amongst the pigeons, wouldn't it? That would be a good one. Leclerc, Hamilton, Vettel. That could be interesting. 19th Cupis, 20th Russell. Thank you very much for that. A back end of the grid prediction. Akash added to his with Vettel, Hamilton, Bottas, Hulkenberg, Roman. Vettel, Hamilton, Leclerc. Legolas says Vettel. Vettel, Max Leclerc. I think I shouted yours out early, David, actually. Hayder, Vettel, Bottas, Leclerc, Hamilton, Verstappen, Gasly. If I'm not sure on your name, I will try and raise my voice at the end. Raise my voice at the end to make sure it's a question. I was going to say good afternoon, Sam. Obviously, morning for you over in Canada. Good to see you. Yes, Black Wolf, don't forget to check them out. In the description, there's a link down there and there's a code as well for a bit of a discount at checkout. Awesome, lads. Absolutely brilliant. Loving being a part of that with them. New brand, plenty of room to grow, and they're a good bunch, like I say, so do check them out. Links in the description. You're supporting the channel as well when you head over there, so that's good stuff. 4 sessions seem pointless, says Owen. I tend to agree. Vettel, Leclerc, Bottas, Leclerc, Hamilton. A lot of people going with Charles Leclerc for pole position. A lot of people. It seems like Ferrari are the favourites at the moment. Robbie, Hamilton, Leclerc, Vettel, Bottas, Verstappen, Grosjean, Gasly. Gasly behind the house. He's one to keep an eye on this session, Pierre Gasly. I think we do need to keep an eye on him because he didn't have a great weekend, did he, in Australia? I know the team took responsibility for qualifying. It looks like, just to put my headphone in a little bit earlier than they usually do, it looks like they're working on Verstappen's car in a bit of a rush. Just keep an eye on this. I might be wrong. It just looked like a bit of panic. They might just be putting the car together. But I will keep an eye on that. I listened to Nico Rosberg banging on in my ear. But yeah, we'll see on that one. We'll keep an eye out for that one. Hamilton to retire in tears of frustration. I don't think so. A rumour floating around today that Sebastian Vettel has dropped a retirement hint and doesn't know if he's going to stick around in 2021. I don't know. I wouldn't read too much into that article because I think Hamilton said the same. I think a lot of drivers, a few drivers have said that they're not sure if they'll be around in 2021. So I'm not reading too much into that article. People do love to to clickbait. Everyone's guilty of it at times, I know, but people pointed the finger at me straight away. But sometimes headlines are just clickable. It's as simple as that, but other times it's just obvious when they're nonsense. Leclerc, Vettel, Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas, Gasly, Grosjean. I think I read that, but I'll read it again, Andrew. Why not? Gasly for pole. Okay. I'm going to remember your name, because if you're right, you get the biggest shout out ever, because that would be phenomenal. I'm not expecting Red Bull to be in contention for pole position today, if I'm being completely honest. It'd be nice to, because it'd be really, really good to have as many teams fighting for pole position as possible, but I'd be surprised if they're not third fastest in terms of the third fastest team. So, fifth and sixth, really. They need to be. So Gasly needs to be P6 minimum today, I think. He really ought to be. I know it's only the second race, but I think he could do with that, if nothing else, for his own confidence. So, yeah, I'm going to go Vettel for pole. I'm going to be boring guy who doesn't go for Leclerc, I know. But I'm going to go for Vettel for pole. And I think Leclerc will be top 3, but I just... Based on FP3 pace, this is Ferraris to lose, but we all know what Lewis Hamilton could do over one lap, so I might pop him in just as a random prediction to split the Ferraris, but by the tiniest of margins. This is where Grosjean puts it on pole by a second. You know what my predictions are like, so I'll go Vettel, Hamilton and Charles Leclerc. But having said that, Bottas's mistake on his final run in FP3, he looks so quick. I know that last year was really good at the start of the season, but completely different driver to the guy that left Abu Dhabi. I was saying this yesterday. He looks so calm, so chilled, and so ready to go. And he's punchy and he's got the fighting talk. So looking good. So I suppose actually, and Calvin saying why not Bottas? Absolutely, he's got to be in there. I just think Hamilton over one lap. Just over one lap. I think Hamilton has it over his teammate, and I think Vettel possibly over one lap with Leclerc as well. But hey, I would be perfectly happy with a Leclerc-Bottas Leclerc front row. I think that'd be brilliant. But we will see. So head over to the watch along screen. Once again, the live timing is provided by the awesome folks over at Planet F1. You'll notice a chat box. I've given in to some of your comments yesterday. It is just squeezed in a corner, unfortunately. I'm fully aware that on mobile you'll struggle to see that, but just for today, for those that are watching on TV, desktop and consoles and whatnot, that it will do for now, because a few people said they quite like reading it when they can't have the chat open. So it's there, it's in the corner, but I'll try and find something better for China, but nothing else I can do with everything else because it's set up for the rest of the weekend. So yes, qualifying 1 is just moments away. Like I say, I think Charles Leclerc looking good, Ferrari looking good in general, and I want to keep an eye on those Williams guys as well. I think that's going to be an important... It's going to be important to see where they are compared to last year's times, their own times, because then, like I said earlier, we're going to get an indication as to how bad they are, or how is there a way back for them this season. Because if they end up being comfortably slower than they were last year, then they're just not going to be anywhere for the rest of the season. There's going to be no way back. Really long way to go, I know, but I just don't see it. I hate talking negative about Williams, but there's not really anything positive to say except Patrick Henry's back, if you've missed that news. So... yeah, I do feel for them. Like I say, some people think it's hilarious. I said this yesterday, but I really do feel for them. I think it's awful. McLaren, just look at the Constructors' Championship there. McLaren and Williams, the only 2 teams not to score in Australia. So that's 8 of the 10 teams picking up points in Australia. When was the last time that happened? That must be a long time ago. A long time ago. Couple in chat mentioning Fernando Alonso there. He is testing next week for McLaren, and there's now some rumour that he could be on his way back, because apparently every time Fernando Alonso stands next to any car, he's making a comeback, or he's going to be in that sport. That's just the way I think people get with it. I think a lot of people like Fernando Alonso and would love to see him back in F1, but we'll see. The problem is who do you replace him with, or who do you kick him out for, or kick out for? That's what I'm trying to say. Who goes if they bring back Fernando Alonso? Do they boot out Norris? Would be really harsh. Sainz? I think it'd be a bit... unless one of them is really struggling halfway through the season, I think it'd be a bit crappy of McLaren to ditch one of them to put Fernando Alonso back in. I think it would be Norris, because he is a McLaren young driver and would get put back. But I think, maybe Alonso will come back for Monaco or something. Maybe 1 or 2 races and Norris gets dropped. But I think that'd be a bit rubbish. It'd be a bit rubbish. But there we go. First one out on track, we have a Williams. I think that's Kubica. It is indeed. I better get the live timing open. The other live timing, hadn't I? The main one. Kubica going out on a set of the soft tyres, followed by Alex Albon by the look of it. The live timing will update, or should update, as the lap times come in. I know that Planet F1 have had a few problems in Australia, and some problems yesterday we had as well, didn't we, during the little practice stream that we did yesterday morning. So hopefully all will be okay, but if there are some problems, don't worry. They are trying to get them solved as quickly as they can. It's still I know we were using them last year, but it's still quite a new system for them. So it's good to have it, though. It is good to have it. But we are green. Albon, Russell and Kubica are all out on a set of the red mark soft tyres, which are the C3s this weekend. So basically, or exactly, the mediums. If you're not sure on how the tyre compounds work, I'll give you a brief explanation. Why not? Even though I said I wouldn't all season. C1s are the hardest, C5s are the softest, and we've got 1, 2 and 3 here this weekend, hard, medium and soft. So yes, I'm not going to keep doing that every weekend. We don't need to be talking too much about the tyres, really. We've got hard, medium and soft. That's all that matters. Kubica looks like he's just look at the sector. It gets me excited when I see a purple time, and then you realise that actually they're the first person to go through the middle sector. So of course it's purple. Of course it's purple. Just while they're getting their laps warmed up, just have a look at some of your questions. Are you showing this live or just speaking? I can only do commentary, unfortunately. I was saying this yesterday. If I could afford to have rights to show it, I would. But we had so many issues with just the titling of streams during testing that if I tried to show any footage, they would probably just take the channel down in a heartbeat. Had one stream copyright struck hard in testing because it was called Testing Live. It was absolutely crazy, so I can't risk it, unfortunately. But like I say, get those donations in. But if we can reach a couple of billion, then we'll look at buying the rights from Sky. But until then, there's nothing I can do, unfortunately. I'm joking, don't worry. Can Ricciardo score points this weekend? Says happy birthday. He's gonna need. He could do with them. He could do with them. Hulkenberg getting 7th place in Australia, so a little bit. It's a long way to go this season, I know, but it'd be nice for him just to do that. Condogs, I will see if I can find somebody who's got a site that will let me do that, but I would need to get permission because otherwise it's copyright. I'm looking forward to the Article 13 nonsense we're going to get in a few years' time. That's going to be interesting because if we're struggling now with certain things on copyright, we're in serious problems when Article 13 gets implemented, wherever it's going to get implemented, so we'll see. Robert Kubica on board. That Williams looks horrendous on board. I quite like that you don't see the blue actually too much. So aesthetically not horrible, but just watching Kubica trying to get that car turned in, and it just looks... it looks horrible. Understeer, oversteer, whatever. It just doesn't look good. And that's not just delivery. That is not just delivery. So we'll see. See if they can get this sorted out. They're going to need something. Kubica are coming straight into pits. Kubica does come straight into pits. So, okay. That's interesting. So straight into pits for Robert Kubica. Didn't set the time. Alex Albon at the moment is going to be the first one to set a time this afternoon. Yes, he's going to go through and do his lap. Across the line he goes, a 1:31.125. George Russell's going to follow him with a 1:32.393. 1.2 seconds off Albon on the first runs. And as I say, compared to last year, Lance Stroll was the slowest at 1:31.5. So Williams need to find a little bit of pace. That's on the softest tyre as well. Not a great start. First lap, though, just getting their eye in, I guess we could say. So looks like Lewis Hamilton is about to head out. Got a few cars getting ready to go. It'll be interesting what tyres they go for. Who's going to take the gamble on the mediums in the first session? I don't think anybody can take the gamble in Q2. I don't think Ferrari, even with the pace they've got on Mercedes, will take that risk for Q2. I don't think you want to start on the mediums. I mean, it'd be great to run long, but you're going to struggle to get the heat, to get the grip early on. So could end up losing out. Not sure. We'll see. Maybe. I mean, they should. I know it's close in that midfield, but I'd like to think Mercedes and Ferrari can get through on the medium tyres. As Lando Norris goes out on a set of the soft tyres. See what he can do. He's going to go and do his warm-up lap. Martin Brundle just saying in commentary a few moments ago about the soft tyres struggling to last the full hot lap. So that's an interesting one. Obviously quite hot in Bahrain. listening half the commentary there. I've got them in my ear just in case I miss anything, because I like to get my pit lane reports from Karun Chandok and Ted. Ted is back in China, apparently, according to Sky. People asking for a map. I can only get a map if I can get a site to provide one, unfortunately. I could put my map on, but it's just a picture of the track. So, I mean, I'm happy to do that for race tomorrow and whatnot. If people want a map on the screen, I can squeeze that on somewhere, but I haven't got an interactive tracker, I think they call it, don't they? So, unfortunately, I can't. It's mad, really, when you think about it, but that is the way it is. Albon, Russell, Kubica didn't set a time, as I say, but he got his sector times. What were his sector times? 29.3 in the first sector, so wasn't great, but wasn't horrific. 40.3 in the middle, then obviously into the pits on a 26.9. Sainz going out, Hulkenberg, I think, as well. I think Hulkenberg's out there, yep. Loads going for. So we've got Giovinazzi, Ricciardo, Kvyat, Sainz, Norris, Hulkenberg, Grosjean, Bottas, Hamilton, Leclerc, Stroll joins him as well out on track, so it's getting busy out there. It's going to be, yeah, Mercedes have gone with the soft tyres in this first sector, so Ferrari are going to be the ones to keep an eye on here, although Leclerc has gone soft as well, and so has Vettel. I was just wondering if they might put the mediums on, because they've used quite a few sets throughout practice, actually, from what I understand. And that's a bit odd. I mean, a lot of qualifying runs went on yesterday, didn't they, which was quite surprising. So let's have a look at the delta between the tyres, if you're interested. I'll try and do this again tomorrow during the race. The average gap in terms of, obviously, seconds, according to Pirelli, between the hard tyre and the medium is a full second, and then between the medium and the soft is 9/10. So it's fundamentally 2 seconds between the hardest and the soft, 1.9 according to Pirelli. So, yeah, 9/10 on the mediums. I'd like to think they could have got through on those if they wanted to. I'd be surprised. If there's no need to, there's no need to, but yeah. Double check everyone's out on the softs as expected, pretty much. Outside the top 2 or 3 teams, we've got Norris at the moment, purple in the first sector on a 28.5. Going to see what he can do over the rest of the lap, coming through towards turn 11 now. DRS wide open. That DRS does still look quite funny. Get used to it very quickly. I know it's quite wide this year, but he's coming through 11, sweeping through 12, and through he goes, a 1:07 in the middle, so that's a 38.8. So he's purple at the moment. A bit of a twitch on the exit there of 13, but he's comfortably quicker than Albon at the moment. One of the stars of qualifying, if not the star of qualifying in. Oh, and that's a car on the racing line, and that is lap ruined. That's a Haas, and I think if this compromises his lap, that's a penalty. He's gone quickest, 30.4. Norris is going to go and overtake him now, and probably, no, he isn't. That might be a penalty for Grosjean. Let's have a look again. So Norris is coming down towards the final corner, and Grosjean just sat on the racing line. Yeah, that we'll see, but I will call that a penalty. Not just because it's Grosjean. That's a penalty for me. Bit of an odd one. He could have been off the racing line there. I know he's gearing up for his own lap, and you have to take that into account. But, yeah, I'd say that's a penalty. Through comes Bottas. 2/10 up on Norris's time in the middle. So that's a good middle sector from Lando Norris, to be fair. Martin Brundle said that could easily be. I think that is a penalty. I'd be surprised if it isn't. So that'll be 5 places, I believe that is. So coming across the line now, Valtteri Bottas, what can he do? Over the line with a 1:29.498, 9/10 quicker than Norris. We've got Hamilton on a lap, but not quicker than Bottas at the moment. What can he do in this final sector? Over the line, he goes on a 1:29.7, 3/10 slower. And then Leclerc over the line with a 1:28.4. Whoa, a second quicker than Bottas. Sainz goes in between the two Mercedes. Vettel 2/10 slower than his teammate, a 28.7 for him. Wow. I know, Q1. It is only Q1, I know, but that is a big lap from Leclerc. Fastest lap last year, say for pole, was a 27.9. Fastest lap in Q1 was a 28.9 from Kimi Raikkonen, so we're 5/10 quicker than the fastest time in Q1 last year. What a start, and what a lap from Charles Leclerc. Could he get is that youngest ever pole sitter as well? I think that would be youngest ever pole sitter. I might be wrong. I think he's still only 20, 21, so I think he would do. Max Verstappen couldn't get that done last year. On the subject of the Red Bulls, they're coming to the line now. I'll run through the order in just a moment. You see it updating on screen. Seems to be working. Over the line goes Gasly on a 30.2, only P10. Is that a Red Bull issue or a Gasly issue? Over the line comes Verstappen, 29.5. So Red Bull, in Q1 at least, do not appear to have the pace to take on Mercedes and Ferrari. A couple more sessions to go yet. Engine modes to crank up as well. Romain Grosjean is under investigation, understandably. But yeah, Gasly, only a 30.2. Alleged impeding of car 4 is the official line on that one. So, just watching a replay of it again, very, very quickly. Yeah, that's a penalty. That's surely. Yeah, Norris quite comfortably blaming Grosjean over Team Renault. Then gets his back end out trying to accelerate out of the way, but that's a penalty. I'll be very surprised. A couple of people in chat say season over. Yeah, it was season over when Mercedes dominated Australia, so it's obviously season over when Ferrari do it in Bahrain. It just proves that we can't get too carried away with this for the season. It's going to ebb and flow quite nicely as it was last year. Good lap at the moment from Albon. 2/10 up on his teammate who's on the bubble. Coming up to 6 minutes to go now. 6 minutes and 22. So not a bad old lap from Alex Albon at the moment. Into the final corner. Going to see what he can do. And it's a 30.1. Yeah, 30.1 for Alex Albon. He goes up to 11th place. Christian Horner saying it's a blistering lap from Leclerc. It'll be interesting. It's a big lap. Gasly will have to go again. I think Verstappen. I think even Verstappen might have to go again. You know. I think Ferrari should be through. Bottas is only 3/100ths quicker than Carlos Sainz in the McLaren. Magnussen only a few thousandths back. I think everybody from Bottas down will need to go again. Because there is a second between Sergio Perez in 18th and Valtteri Bottas in 3rd. I know Mercedes have probably got a bit more to give and an engine mode to use if they need to. I think certainly. Well, yeah, if Sainz down have got to go again, then Bottas has got to go again. Wow. This could be good. This could be good. Leclerc 28.0, 38.2 and 22.1 for his fastest lap in his 3 sectors. He's going to watch a replay. He's got a little bit of traffic. Is that on his lap or on his out lap? I assume it's on his out lap, surely. If that's his flying lap and he still set the fastest time, then wow. I don't know what we're watching there, really. Just Leclerc passing a slow Hamilton, but I assume that was in laps for both of them. So there you go. This is close. As you can see on the lap, the live timing there, this is so close. This is going to be good. Anything, if we can have a couple of sessions like we had last weekend or last time out in Australia, I'm quite happy with that. So super quick run through the order. As things stand at the moment, Charles Leclerc currently fastest in Q1 with coming up to 4 minutes to go. 1:28.4, Vettel 28.7, 2/10 behind his teammates. So Leclerc looking good at the moment. Bottas a second off Leclerc. Wow. Carlos Sainz just 3/100ths further back with Kevin Magnussen just a couple of thousandths behind that one in 5th. Max Verstappen only in 6th place. Grosjean 7th. Hamilton 8th. Raikkonen 9th. 10th for Ricciardo. 1.5 seconds covering the top 10. Albon in 11th. Gasly 12th. Hülkenberg 13th. Norris in 14th. 1.9 off. Stroll 1.9 off as well in 15th. Kvyat in 16th. Giovinazzi 17th and 18th for Perez. Like I say, 2 seconds covering the field and a second covering 3rd. Down to 18th, and as kind of expected, the Williams boys a long way off. Kubica a 1:31.7, 3.3 off, and a 1:32.3 for Russell, 3.8 off. What was that for last year? So actually, Williams at the minute 2/10 off their time from last year with Lance Stroll, which was the slowest time of the day, a 1:31.5. So I would like to think they'll be able to find that on a second run. Lewis Hamilton looks like he's going again and moves up into 3rd place on a 1:29.2, but still 7/10. 7/10 off the Ferraris. That should be enough to see him through. It's only 3/10 more than Bottas, but that should be enough to get him through. I think Bottas needs to go again. I think he needs to. But that should be enough for Hamilton. I'm not sure what the cutoff is. I'm not really... Kind of difficult to tell with it being so close over one lap. Sainz is out. Grosjean, Raikkonen, Ricciardo, Albon, Gasly, Hulkenberg, Norris, Stroll. Basically everybody is going. I'm not going to sit here and go for everybody. They're all heading out on track. I think Leclerc's in the pits. Vettel's still in the pits as well. Hamilton will get back to the pits. Bottas is not out on track. Neither's Magnussen. And neither is Verstappen. 2 minutes to go. They need to get out within the next 30 seconds or so. So I'm just keeping an eye on this because last year it all kind of went wrong. Last week it kind of went wrong for Red Bull in Australia. I'm just keeping an eye, a very close eye to make sure they're going out. If McLaren thinks Sainz are in danger, just listen to Crofty there, then surely Magnussen and Verstappen are not safe in 6th and 7th. They are not on the track. Magnussen, Verstappen, Bottas, Vettel and Leclerc are not going again. Hamilton's on his in-lap. So this first lap that gets put in is going to be crucial as to how comfortable Red Bull are going to feel in just a couple of minutes' time. They don't need to go out. No one is faster, says John. I generally agree, but Carlos Sainz is the one that's making me question it here because he's 5th at the moment and only a few 100 slower than Bottas. Normally, I'd completely agree. I'd say that Bottas and Hamilton should be okay and Verstappen in theory, but Sainz is a surprise. That's what's kind of put the cat amongst the pigeons. So I'm going to watch Kvyat here and see what he can do. And Norris as well. They're going to be our first real indication as to where the cutoff's going to be. Kvyat through the first sector at 28.3, sorry. No, that was Bottas, Sean. Read it properly. So it was a 28.5, not Bottas. That'll be enough to get him through, but it's not going to threaten anybody too far up the table at the moment. Got 25 seconds left in the session, so everyone out on track, like I say, except for the 2 Ferraris, the 2 Mercedes now, Magnussen and Verstappen, but everybody else is out there. So this could be interesting now. So what's Kvyat going to do in the middle sector? Coming through 12 now on the run to 13. Through he goes, 1:07. So he's 3/10 up on a time that'll get him through, which will put him on a 1.7. So he's going to move up to about 12th, maybe 11th if he can get a good final sector. So I think they should be okay for Verstappen upwards. But it is so close. It's so close. So I'll take a deep breath now as they all start to cross the line and see if we get what we got in Australia. So Kvyat moves up into 9th place, 129.8. Very good final sector. Lando Norris coming to the line. What can he do? Currently down in 15th. He's on the bubble. He goes up into 4th, 129.3. Cracking lap. McLaren have got some one-lap pace. Cross the line goes Giovinazzi, 130.0, up to 12th place. What can Kimi Raikkonen do? Needs a lap, really. Does not improve. Stays 11th. Alex Albon coming to the line, 120. He goes 6th, 129.5. Gasly's on the bubble. Ricciardo's not safe either. Russell out-qualifies Kubica, 31.7, matching what Stroll did almost last year. 2/10 off that one. Stroll only 15th. He could be in trouble here. Ricciardo on the bubble. Hulkenberg 14th. This is Perez needs this. Perez needs this. He's down in 18th. His teammate is out. Lance Stroll is out of the session. But Perez could be about to dump Ricciardo out. What is Danny Ric doing? Perez does at the moment. P12. I think we're going to lose Hulkenberg. Gasly goes through into P13. What can Ricciardo do? He goes 11th. We have lost Nico Hulkenberg and Lance Stroll. And that, I think, Grosjean is out there still doing a lap, but he's safe now. He's pitting. So we have lost from the first qualifying session. Wow. Antonio Giovinazzi, Nico Hulkenberg, Lance Stroll, George Russell, and Robert Kubica. Hulkenberg, who's had his teammate in his pocket all weekend, is out in Q1. And phenomenally, I just need to look at the times because I can't quite believe this. Between Lance Stroll in 18th and Valtteri Bottas in 5th, there are 0.7 of a second. That, if that can carry over into the season, that is the Formula One we want. That is what we want. I know it's only Q1, but that's what we want to see. That is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Let's have a look. Have a look at some gaps. 29.4 for Bottas, 29.5 for Albon, 29.5 for Sainz, 29.5 for... Wow. For Magnussen, 29.5 for Verstappen, 29.6 for Grosjean, 29.8 for Ricciardo, 29.8 for Kvyat, 29.8 for Perez, 29.9 for Gasly, 29.9 for Raikkonen, 30 flat for Giovinazzi and Hülkenberg, and Stroll a 30.2. Wow. That'll do. Leave it there. That's qualifying done. We'll have this every session if we have to. That is brilliant. A great session once again. Not so brilliant, of course, for Antonio Giovinazzi, Nico Hülkenberg, Lance Stroll, George Russell, and Robert Kubica, all out of Q1. But again, just with Australia, some team radio from Hulk. That is close. Hülkenberg said it's impossible. 29.85 for Ricciardo. It's not impossible, mate, because he did it. There you go. But wow. I said wow about 16 times in the last 3 minutes. I do apologise, but that is awesome. That is, again, just like Australia, lots of chaos towards the end, and that was very enjoyable. But we've still got 2 more sessions to go. So close. 1.5. Antonio Giovinazzi off the pace. Hülkenberg just 8 1,000ths further back. Lance Stroll, couple of tenths back. Again, don't write off Lance Stroll. We saw what he could do in Australia, couldn't we? Ended up in 9th place from a similar position on the grid, if not the same position. So not great. It's funny because actually coming into the season, Racing Point said that one of the things they were going to work on Lance Stroll with was his qualifying pace. That was one of the big weaknesses they spotted in him. So at the moment, it's obviously not working, whatever they've decided to do. But hopefully, he'll improve as the season goes on. But if you're wondering about Williams, in terms of their pace, their fastest lap in Q1 today was a 1:31.7. Wow, yeah. 2 tenths slower than their time last year. They're not their best time, their slowest time last year. Their best time was actually a 1:31.4 from... Sirotkin it would have been, won't it? Yeah, from Sergei Sirotkin. So they are well off the pace this year and slower than they were last year in cars that for everybody else are considerably quicker than they were last year. So that is the mess Williams are in. There's just a bit of analysis now on Sky looking at that incident between Grosjean and Norris. I'm going to have a drink before the next session because this could be quite juicy. Looking forward to this one. But I think, yeah, 100%. I think that's a penalty for Grosjean. I'd be surprised if it's not. Alonso is now interested, says Son. That's why all the rumours are around, because McLaren appear to have some good one-lap pace. Where did Norris get? So Norris 4th and Sainz in 7th. So, yeah. Let's see what they can do. Who's going to be the big surprise of Q2 in terms of dropping out and indeed making it into that top 10? Great first session. Enjoyed that very much. Take a few of your comments in this little gap, as I always do. Nice to see Stroll to keep Williams company, says Darren. Yeah, absolutely. Just popping by to say hello. Sirotkin in the Renault garage. Yep, he's their reserve driver. I thought they call him this year. Reserve driver, test driver, best mate. I don't know, whatever. But he is there. Lando, my man, what a surprise, says it's Champ. I'm really surprised by Renault. I'm just a couple of comments on Renault. Really, really surprised. Charles Super wants to know where you can watch live F1 TV and Sky Sports F1 in the UK. Elsewhere, I'm not. I think ESPN show it in the States. I don't know where you are, mate, but yeah, only Sky Sports. If you're in the UK, though, whoop. There are highlights later on Channel 4, much later on, 7 p.m. I think they start. And the qualifying report, by the way, just to let you know, I am going to do what I did last week because that went down well with those that don't get to watch it live. Because obviously the qualifying report includes spoilers in the thumbnail and the title, whereas the race reaction doesn't. So it's going to go up after qualifying highlights finish on Channel 4. So between 8 and 8:30. Between 8 and 8:30. So that is the plan today. Because it's quite nice actually doing it that way. It gives me a bit of time to kind of just go through it nice and slowly, no rush. ESPN 2 in the US, apparently. RTL in Germany. Norris should say they can fight after this session, says Owen McGee. We'll see what he does for the rest of the session first off. See what they've got in this second session. I can't get over how close this is. I'm loving this. And don't forget, of course, this is our first proper weekend, if you like, in terms of finding out who's where. First proper representative track. So that is Q. I might have to just change me... quickly change the graphics to Q2 here with the Planet F1 stuff. There we go. 15 drivers heading out very soon. Just waiting. The clock is ticking. The light is green at the end of the pit lane, so we're ready to go. Just taking a deep breath. Just taking a deep breath, ready for this one. K-Mag pole. What was K-Mag in the last session? He was decent, 8th place. Has to look at the moment like best of the rest. Really surprised by Renault, as I've already said. Really, really surprised to see them struggling so much early in the season. A lot of people said that they would be third fastest this year. I was confident they wouldn't be, and was almost certain they would be fourth, best of the rest. And at the moment, early days I know, it's not been a great start. I know there were points on the board in Australia, which is crucial. Obviously, early in the season, get them on the board early, but not looking good. Ricciardo was not great in qualifying in Australia and not great in the race, and Nico Hülkenberg is out in Q1, which is a shame. Could be asking about the stream. It's working right. My internet and my PC are terrible, and it's running okay for me. So just give it a quick refresh if you've got any problems. But it is at the moment running okay, and the stream health is decent as well. So just give it a quick refresh, and don't forget, of course, to subscribe if you are new to the channel. Plenty coming up, like I say, qualifying report a little bit later this evening. If you're in the UK, like I say, between 8 and 8:30, somewhere around there. We've got the race watch along tomorrow from 3:30, I think, in the afternoon. If you're in the UK, clocks go forward tonight. Don't forget that. So yeah, we'll be live from 3:30 tomorrow, and then there'll be the race reaction stream shortly after the Grand Prix. Obviously, we don't have a race reaction stream before the Grand Prix, are we? But there we go. I'll just say it anyway. Of course, the debrief on Monday as well. So, yes, loads coming up. So good to have F1 back. I know it's the second race, and I can stop saying that now, but it's buzzing as well. And if you caught the F2 race this morning, that was a cracking race. Great drive. I mean, fantastic drive from Latifi, but Giotto as well. Terrible start. Really struggled at points in the race, but his comeback, some of his overtakes were just brilliant. So, really good race. Really, really good race. And shout out to Antoine Hubert as well. I will say that. A lot of talk about Schumacher, a lot of talk about Calderon, but nobody really talking about Zhou or Hubert, who both had very good debuts. So yeah, everybody seems to be going out at once with 12 minutes to go, coming up to 12 minutes to go. Got a few cars, most cars heading out on track. Wow. Wow. It's crazy. Who's going to be first to set a time? I think it should be Lewis Hamilton. He was first out, followed by Norris and Bottas. So, and now we've got a bit of jostling as Raikkonen makes a move on the Toro Rosso of Daniel Kvyat. Bit of racing going on outlaps. Why not? It won't be Hamilton at all, so the timing's not right. So I apologise. It won't be Hamilton that sets the time. Ferrari confidently sat in the garage waiting to send their drivers out. Must say, the matte finish on that Ferrari looks beautiful under the lights in Bahrain. Yes, I like it. I like it a lot. I said when I did the car launch video on the Ferrari that I am a big fan of a nice shiny Ferrari in the lights and the proper red on it. But the matte finish does look great. It does look great. And I know before anybody says it looks orange in chat, it does at times. I'll give you that. But yes, it does look a bit orange. Let's be honest. This could get interesting. So they've kind of sat out the first couple of minutes. In fact, all teams have sat out the first couple of minutes. So it's going to be a mad rush now, then into the pits for some new tyres. And then off they go for a second run. But let's see what Everton do on their first run. First, Bottas twitching out that final corner from Valtteri Bottas to start his flying lap in Q2. Kimi Raikkonen is out. That's going to be the next one. It will be because Giovinazzi's out. So it's Kimi Raikkonen over the line. Kvyat's going to get a good lap in, hopefully. It'd be nice to see Kvyat do well today. Would be nice to see him do well. There's a few question marks over whether Ticktum's earmarked for one of those seats we were talking about yesterday, weren't we, with him getting the test next week. It'd be nice to see Kvyat and Albon do well and just force Toro Rosso into a difficult decision, although I don't think they'd find it too difficult. You know what they're like. Through goes Bottas in the first sector. Not going to be a good lap, I don't think. 28.3, so 0.3 off Leclerc's time. The sector times are not coming up on F1 on the F1 TV, on the F1 feed on Sky, so I'm just going to have to turn my head and look at the timing screens. Hamilton 28.1, so still slower than Leclerc's fastest from Q1 at the moment. So Ferrari, on the face of it, do appear to have a bit of time in their pocket. I love the way the cars sweep through 11. That change of direction is awesome. Good stuff. So here comes Bottas into the middle sector, 38.2. See what he can do. Leclerc is top of the timesheet for some reason. Shouldn't be. Oh, look at the traffic. Traffic everywhere. Ferrari and a Renault getting out of the way. We've got a Red Bull just ahead of Bottas. Shouldn't affect him. We'll get a little tiny bit of tow. I don't think he needs it with that Mercedes in the back of the car. And crosses the line on a 28.8 for Bottas. Over the line, Raikkonen 29.4. So now the gap sort of opens up a bit to the rest of the field. 29.8. Grosjean 29.4 as well. He goes into second place. What is Magnussen going to do? Over he goes. 29 flat. Half a second quicker than his teammate, who, of course, we can fully expect is going to get a penalty for at the end of this session for blocking Lando Norris. Hamilton fastest 28.5. Mercedes just showing a little bit of pace now. They need to. Norris goes across on a 29.2. Fourth place, splitting the Haas boys at the moment. This is not what I was expecting this weekend from McLaren, I'm not going to lie. Sainz 29.3 just tucks in behind his teammate. So at the moment, McLaren, we just need to see what Ricciardo can do in the Renault. But at the moment, McLaren and Haas look like 4th and 5th this weekend in terms of pace. Again, still a way to go today and still a way to go tomorrow in the race when the points are handed out. Doesn't matter what you're doing qualifying if you then don't score in the race. So, looking good. McLaren looking much better than I expected. Much better. Leclerc purple in the first, purple in the second. This could be over the line he goes. It's a 28 flat, half a second quicker than Lewis Hamilton. Over the line comes Gasly, only 29.5 for 9th. Verstappen next one up. He goes 29.1 to go 5th. Ricciardo only 10th. And Vettel only 6th, 29.2. Did Vettel have traffic? A little bit of a shake of the head there. But Ricciardo down in 11th. 1.4 off the pace. The time's not refreshing. Sorry, I can't. I've got my software open on another screen. Let me see if I can do this for you. We did have an issue with it last weekend. Let me see if I can sort that out for you. There we go. I might have to just do it manually again, just while we're trying to sort this. I don't know why it does it, to be honest. But there we go. Yeah, that's not working, is it? There we go. There we go. I'll try and do it manually. I'll keep an eye on it. But thank you for pointing that out. Whoever that was, I've missed who you were. So apologies. But yeah, thank you for that. I'll keep an eye on it and try and update it as we go. We had this in the race last weekend, didn't we? With the timing. I'm not sure why it's doing it. I don't think it's a Planet F1 issue because it's refreshing on their page. So I'll just have to have a look at the software again tonight. It could just be, I think it's just a software issue, but we'll have a look. We'll sort it out, I'm sure. What have we got going on then? So, Leclerc 28 flat, Hamilton 28.5, Bottas 28.8, Magnussen 29.0, 29.1 for Verstappen. So at the minute, Haas might be third quickest at the moment. Certainly Magnussen looking good once again, start of this season. Vettel 129.2. I want to see a replay of Vettel's lap as Albon goes very wide at the final corner on his lap. That'll cost him some time, but yeah. I wonder if Vettel had traffic. 1.1 off his teammate, 29.2. Norris 29.2. Sainz 29.3. Grosjean 29.4. And Raikkonen 29.4 as well. Then you've got Ricciardo, Gasly, Kvyat, Albon and Perez at the moment in the drop zone. But again, not an awful lot between them. Ricciardo, what, 200ths off 10th place. Gasly not much more. So it's very, very close in there. But I want to see a replay of Vettel's lap if there is one. Yeah, need to go again, he's been told, clearly. Oh. So yeah, he's just said on the radio it was a worst spot ever. So I think they're not. I think it was a position he was in. We're going to get a replay now. Big lockup into turn 10, I believe that is. Yes, it is. A big lockup that won't have helped, and a flat spot as well, a little flat spot. So that'll be why he was struggling. And there's not a great place to send him out at all. Not good at all. Let's have a look at some of the lap sector times. See what we've got going on. I think everything nice and calm at the moment as they all come back to get ready for the final runs. Yeah, Vettel was poor in the middle sector. Very poor, 47.1. That was his in-lap though, Sean, so that won't make sense, but yes. It wasn't good from the other thing I just saw, but yeah, I think that lockup is not going to have helped him. That is the middle sector, of course, as well. Gasly down in 12th. Taking a deep, just having a moment ready for this one. It feels like the calm before the storm. McLaren look like they could be on for Q3 here. And Gasly is under pressure. He needs a lap. First one out is the Haas, I believe, of Kevin Magnussen. It is not. It's Romain Grosjean. Trying to guess from the aerial shot there, but yeah. Got 3 minutes 30. I forgot to put a timer on screen. I was supposed to do that. Sorry, I do apologise. I meant to do that, and I completely forgot. Classic. I'll try and remember for the next one. But Grosjean's going to be first to get a lap in. He needs it if he wants to start in the top 10 because I think 5th place grid drop is coming his way. So he's going to need to get himself well inside that top 10. Vettel's going again on those nice shiny tyres. Soft tyres for him. Raikkonen. Crofty arguing Nico Rosberg. Of course, Crofty will know more. Nico Rosberg does. Who's going out then? Get your predictions. We've got Ricciardo, Gasly, Kvyat and Albon and Perez all in the drop zone at the moment. Who's going out? I think Gasly's under some serious pressure here, and so is Ricciardo. They should both really be in that top 10. So surprised to see the McLarens up there and looking good. Red Bull do not appear on the face of it at the moment to have the pace to get anywhere near the Ferraris and Mercedes, and I think they might be under threat from Haas. Kevin Magnussen looking good, a 10th quicker than Verstappen. Coming up to the 2-minute mark as well, so this is where we're going to get the final runs as we did last time. I will try and update these, but I'm obviously trying to watch the screen as well, so apologies if I don't get around to that immediately. But I will try to. So Grosjean's going to be first one up to set his time. See what he can do in that first sector when he gets round there. I'll get the refresh screen open ready so I can just hit that button. See if that helps. Bit of a... I was going to say Twitch. I think that Haas looks nice. Very, very nice under the lights with the black and gold livery. And also looks pretty nailed to the circuit. They've got a few updates to the car. I say that as he runs a little bit wide out of 4, but everybody tends to. Half a second down on Leclerc. But it is a personal best first sector for Romain Grosjean. So this is going to be, like I say, he needs this lap if he's going to get a penalty for that block on Lando Norris. Not quite sure what to make of Alpha either at the moment. I was expecting them to be best the rest this season after what we saw in testing. Prior to that, I was confident it'd be Renault, but I thought how Alpha would be in the scrap for it, but they've not really turned up with the pace that they showed. Grosjean coming through, it's a personal best middle sector, second off the pace, which would put him behind his teammate just at the moment, ahead of Verstappen, but he needs a good final sector to guarantee that. Max Verstappen's out there, drivers not on track are Leclerc and Hamilton, otherwise everybody is out there. Is Kvyat out there actually? He might not be. But if they're not on track now, they're not going to get a lap. I don't think Kvyat is. Possibly a problem. Grosjean goes only P7, which would mean, based on that, he would start outside the top 10 if he gets a penalty. But that might not even be enough to get him through. Ricciardo you'd expect to improve. You'd expect Gasly to improve. You'd hope Gasly would improve. Magnussen doesn't improve, stays fourth, but not a problem. He's through. Perez over the line. What's he going to do? Only P13 for Perez. He's out. That's it. Flag is flying. Through goes Albon. He's out, but does improve to P12. Lando Norris coming to the line. What's he going to do? Does not improve. Stays 8th. Sebastian Vettel needs this lap. Over the line he goes with a 1:28.3. Leclerc looking good here. 3/10 quicker than his teammate. Kimi Raikkonen only P10, so he's still on the bubble. Gasly has got to improve. Through he goes. Pierre Gasly only 13th. Wow. Ricciardo only 11th. Ricciardo doesn't improve. We've got 2 McLarens as Sainz improves to 6th. We've got 2 McLarens in the top 10 shootout. We've got 2 Haas boys in there. Only 1 Red Bull. And then the 2 Ferraris and the 2 Mercedes out. Verstappen doesn't improve on his lap, but he's already through. Out go Daniel Ricciardo, Alex Albon, Pierre Gasly, Sergio Perez, and Daniel Kvyat. Unbelievable. Oh dear. I don't know what to say to that. We lost Gasly in Q1 through, by the team's admission at the time, their fault in Australia, but that, surely, is all him. But again, this is the thing though, it's we're sort of all, wow, what's going on with Gasly, but 6/100ths off Raikkonen in 10th. Raikkonen 1.4 off. So yeah, Raikkonen 1.425 off, Ricciardo 1.442 off, Albon 1.467 off, and Gasly 1.480 off. But what I would say to that is a couple of hundredths is all driver. A couple of hundredths of a second is all driver, and it's no surprise, therefore, to see Kimi Raikkonen P10. Gasly saying he couldn't put the throttle down, don't know why, got snaps everywhere, so possibly a concern there. Half a second, well, 4/10 slower than his teammate, but like I say, nothing between 10th and 13th. But still, yeah, Daniel Ricciardo, 100th, just over 100th off 10th place. Frustrating. But I'll tell you what, the only good thing to come out of that from Daniel Ricciardo is free choice of tyre in P11. That could be quite important tomorrow early on if these soft tyres are not going to last. On board with Alexander Albon. What are we going to see in the final corner? I'm guessing we're going to go wide or, yeah, very wide out the final corner. That's the end of that. So if we look at on board with Vettel for his first run to see what went wrong, but he is behind Ricciardo, but I don't think that's holding him up as such. But lock-up, big lock-up. A little bit of a flat spot, and that's kind of end of that lap for him there, but he's through. Oh, would Charles Leclerc be the youngest ever pole sitter? I think he would, if he got this. This is on for him. 3/10 quicker than Vettel. 21. Yes, he would be. What a story that would be. Watching some of the analysis on Anthony Davis is doing on the Sky Pad. That Ferrari looks so nailed to the track. Super quickly before the update on the times. Out go Kvyat 1:29.8, Perez 1:29.7, Gasly 1:29.5, Albon 1:29.5, and Ricciardo 1:29.4. Nothing in it once again, but still disappointed. Like I say, 11th place is probably a bit of a consolation for Danny Rick. A little bit of a consolation. Maybe pop a fresh set of the softs on. Could even gamble if he wanted and go with a set of the mediums. I'd be surprised. Didn't Toro Rosso have the best race pace in practice, says Antonio? I'm not sure, to be honest. I don't remember reading that. I know they were good, but race pace is obviously, I know the point you're making, race pace is important. 12th isn't awful for that's a good qualifying for Albon. Let's not forget that. It's a good qualifying. It's not. It's 15th for Kvyat isn't brilliant, but it's not terrible. And if, as you were saying there, if the race pace is as good as we've been seeing, then they should be okay. They should have a decent Grand Prix. Maybe a point. It'd be good to see them get a point or two again. I'm hoping for a bit of loads of excitement tomorrow. But we will... I'm not going to say it, no. Bahrain will be rubbish. I will not say it. I promise I won't say it. Yeah. Max isn't younger than Leclerc, is he? Unless you're talking about something else. Sorry, I'm kind of butting into your conversation there. Max is 22. Leclerc's 21. This is where Sean is completely wrong. Oh no, 21 for Verstappen. I thought it was 22. Why do I think it was 22? So maybe not then. Leclerc is younger by a month by the look of it. I think. I'm on Wikipedia, can you tell? Yeah, Leclerc is younger by a month. So he wouldn't be youngest ever pole sitter because I think that passed for Verstappen last year, didn't it? I think Verstappen had one... I think Mexico was his last chance for youngest ever pole sitter. So yeah. Times are as up to date as the Planet F1 website, guys. I can't... they're all identical. So yeah, that is as up to date as they're going to be. But it will be Q3 in just a few. See where we end up. Let's open up that page actually so we're ready for it. Top 10 shootout. Leclerc, Vettel, Hamilton, Bottas, Magnussen, Sainz, Verstappen, Grosjean, Norris and Raikkonen. Super quickly while we're between sessions then. One surname. Who is going to be on pole position out of those 10 for the race tomorrow? I'm going to stick with Vettel. Just, you know, that experience maybe. Can pull a lap out of the bag. Vettel only has one set of fresh tyres left, says Maximilian. Probably, yeah, because they used loads in practice. Really surprised me. Leclerc. Vettel, Bottas, says TY. I'm going to try, so many saying Leclerc. I'm going to try and pick out some that have... Astro says Bottas for pole, Mercedes front row. Okay. That would be surprising. When was the last time both McLaren cars got into Q3? 1983. No, it feels like forever, doesn't it? Don't think Stoffel did it last year at any point. I'll go back and look at that and see if I remember to put it in the report, because that's a long time ago, it feels like. A lot of people going with Leclerc. Hamilton says Max. Rocking. Salah says K-Mag. He'd need some lap time. He's looking good, though. K-Mag, once again, starting this season really, really well, as he did last year. Trulli on pole, says Florian. He was on pole in 2009 for Toyota. I think was the stat I found out earlier, or dug out earlier. A few people actually saying... Magnussen. I think a few laughing emojis with it. I think there's a bit of a... He looks good. I've got to give him that. We are green for Q3. 12 minutes of Q3. This one is the one that sets the grid for the top 10. If you're new to Formula 1, everybody that's already been out and set a lap time is setting their grid slot. So this is the only thing up for grabs now, is 1 to 10. Don't forget Grosjean as well has a big penalty question mark hanging over his head. Pretty sure it will be a slam dunk from everybody going out. Grosjean, Magnussen, out goes Kimi Raikkonen. Is that Carlos Sainz as well? Yes, it is. He's out on track nice and early. I'm grinning because, and call me a British bias fanboy thing, I don't mind. But it's genuinely so good to see McLaren on a track where power is important because of the long straights. You know, it's not everything like Monza is all about power, but it's important. It's just great to see two McLarens in the top 10. That is fantastic. And outperforming at the moment, definitely outperforming the Works Renault team. The year after Fernando Alonso left. What are the odds? I think most people predicted that, didn't they? It would just be sod's law for Fernando Alonso. Car had issues, not the speed it had in FP3. Setup or technical issues, he's not sure, is what Hulkenberg said. Thank you very much for that one. I need to find the quotes out. I should probably have something open for that, but I've got enough screens on at the moment trying to keep up with everything. Is Red Bull still relevant in top 3? I think if they turn up their engine, or the power unit, sorry, I keep saying engine, power unit, I think you'd expect Verstappen to be P5. But I'm just looking at Kevin Magnussen. He could spring a surprise here. Not pole. I'm not going to go as far as pole, but he could end up being 5th place. I'm surprised actually to see that, given that Toto Wolff has said it, and I think been kind of hinted at by Red Bull that they're within 10 brake horsepower of Ferrari and Mercedes, with their what you'd expect to be probably as good, if not a superior chassis. I'm quite surprised to see them quite that far off the pace. But maybe people aren't telling us the truth. Vettel only one set of tyres, so as somebody's already said, so he's not going out at the moment. So at the moment, everybody but Vettel and Verstappen out. Those two have only got one set of softs left. So no pressure on Vettel and Verstappen. They're only going to get one run. Only going to get one run. I think the entire top 10 as well, by the way, will start on the soft tyre tomorrow. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure everybody went through on the softs. Not worth the risk on the mediums. It kind of, in some respects, doesn't bode well tomorrow because it means we're probably going to get another one stop. But we'll worry about that. We'll enjoy qualifying for now. Saturday can be the most exciting part of the weekend, but hopefully with these new regulations, we'll see some overtaking tomorrow and the long-term future of Formula 1, of course. Hopefully we'll get a decent future with lots of close racing. Like I say, Q1, we'll have that every season. Every weekend will be brilliant. Bottas is coming through. Personal best in the first sector. Not amazing at the moment, but still quick. Norris goes across the line, goes across the line, 29.8. Then Raikkonen, 29.9. Grosjean, 29.5. He's gone quicker than his teammate. Well, no, he hasn't, because Magnussen's just gone quicker, 28.7. Lando Norris is not Romain Grosjean's teammate. Who knew? Sights go second, 29.3. What is Bottas going to do? Purple middle sector. Over he goes on a... not quite sure. He's got another straight yet, but we'll see. Coming through that final corner. See what he can do. Bottas goes across on a 128.3. Hamilton, 128.1. 2 tenths quicker than his teammate. Interesting. What can Charles Leclerc do? Purple in the first sector. What's he going to do in the middle sector? Purple. He's not purple. Personal best. So Bottas has the purple middle and final sectors. At the moment, Leclerc could be on for provisional pole on his first run. Don't forget, Vettel and Verstappen are in the pits. Only one set of soft tyres left each. They've only going to get one run. Over the line comes Leclerc with a 127.9, 2 tenths quicker than Lewis Hamilton. So Leclerc at the moment on provisional pole position. Over to you, Sebastian Vettel. Oh, this is actually close. Mercedes are in it. It's a couple of tenths, but they're closer than they were in practice and in the rest of qualifying. 2 tenths between Leclerc and Hamilton, 3 tenths to Bottas from Leclerc, so a tenth between the two Mercs. Magnussen 4th, 7 tenths off. Magnussen within a second of the Ferraris in qualifying. Ooh. Right. 127.9 Leclerc, 128.1 Hamilton, 128.3 Bottas. Everyone coming in the pits, obviously. Magnussen 28.7. I can't get over that. Less than 8 tenths off pole position. Good lap. 29.3 for Sainz, 29.5 for Grosjean. A second off his teammate's pace. Lando Norris, 29.8. Kimi Raikkonen, 29.9. And then we're just waiting for Vettel and Verstappen on there. One run to go in the next bunch. Leclerc looking good. But like I say, only 2 tenths. Only 2 tenths between Leclerc and Hamilton. That's much closer than we've seen at times this weekend. So that could be interesting. But we'll hang on. Take a deep breath. I'll have another drink before this gets really exciting. And I get to go full crofty. Williams will win the race, says Paolo. I like you. You're optimistic. It is that is refresh, guys. For those that are asking, that's what it is. We're still waiting for Vettel and Verstappen to go out, so they are the times at the moment. Everybody in the pits getting some fresh tyres and whacked on the car. Just watching Hamilton here, runs a little bit wide, just hits fairly wide over the curb in that final corner. Might have cost him a little bit of time, but that is not 2/10. Deep breath. This could get quite tasty. Yeah. People still going with Leclerc for pole. I'm going to go Vettel. Still saying Vettel. Orange over on Twitter says, when you changed that Rick for Hulkenberg in the fantasy team just minutes before quali. Ouch. Sorry, mate. That's not good. Henron says, Vettel or Leclerc for pole. I'm still going to go with Vettel. And then some responses to some other stuff I said earlier. I was just saying on Twitter earlier, I said it last year. If I was forced to have to pick a session that had to disappear from Formula One, I would go with FP3. It just bores the life out of me. It really does. Yeah, keep the Friday sessions at an hour or an hour and a half, however they want to do it, and then get rid of FP3. Just have you've got your F2 race and your F3 race this season in between. So, nah. I'd get rid of FP3. It's an hour and not a lot really happens. And it's just before quali as well. I don't mind losing. I think track time's important if you pay a fortune to go to a circuit, but at the same time, these guys have too much time in practice, and that's why I think, as we've seen in Austin, the US Grand Prix a couple of years ago with all the rain, the less practice they have, the better race we get. So, or generally speaking. I'm quite happy to lose that. But anyway, that was a random moment to bring up just as cars start to go out on track as we come up to the 3-minute mark. Everybody will be on the softs. Fresh set for Vettel and Verstappen. If you're just tuning in, they've only got the one set, so they're only doing one run. So big pressure, particularly on Sebastian Vettel with his teammate currently fastest on a 27.9. Ferrari, for all the kicking off after Australia about Ferrari being nowhere and the season being over, appear to have quite an edge here. It's only a couple of tenths, like I say, but when you consider how far off they were in Australia, it just shows that something was going on there. Reports of engines being run slower than they should be because of some problems or some concerns, some cooling issue concerns that Mattia Binotto has rubbished, but a lot of rumours around that, but they are definitely in this title fight based on this weekend. Like I say, the first proper representative weekend, but we still have to take early season with a little bit of salt because you've got the B-spec cars turning up in Spain. The development rate this season is going to be crazy anyway with the new regulations. So it's going to chop and change quite a bit, but I'm very optimistic. I'm a lot more optimistic for the season than I was after Australia. And that's nothing against Mercedes. I just want as many teams in this title fight as we can possibly have. And if Leclerc is going to take the fight to Vettel and Bottas is going to take the fight to Hamilton, wow, we could be in for a treat. 2 minutes to go. Kevin Magnussen. What can he do? Leclerc fairly late out. Martin Brundle just saying there that Leclerc a little bit late out, so might need to push a little bit on his outlap, but that might not be. No, it won't be great, will it? Take any life out of those tyres. We've got a minute and a half left. He should be okay. So 127.9. So he's got a minute and a half to get round, and his lap. Yeah, he should be fine. Don't panic. It's okay. Calm down, Martin. We've got Norris personal best, Grosjean personal best, Raikkonen personal best as well. I'll keep an eye on them, but obviously the fight for pole is what we're keeping an eye on. Sainz does a personal best. Magnussen does not, but is still quicker than everybody behind him except for Kimi Raikkonen. Big pressure on Vettel here. He cannot afford any mistake whatsoever. That lockup in Q2, how costly could that be? Forcing him to have to go out on another set of tyres. It's going to be, we'll know in about a minute's time how costly that is. He comes through the first sector down on Charles Leclerc's time by half a tenth. Is he going to do it? Is he going to do it? Imagine Matt Gallagher if Charles Leclerc is sat on pole position for tomorrow. Oh, I might have to avoid Twitter just for that. He got it right. He's got it right this time. No lockup into 10. DRS wide open as he goes on the run down towards turn 11. I do like turn 11 in Bahrain. Good corner, great to see. Hamilton not quicker at the moment as far as I can see. Grosjean up to P5, 129.0. Leclerc has got his lap in and goes purple in the first sector, I believe. 27.7. And Vettel is nearly a tenth down on his teammate. I think Charles Leclerc is about to get his first Formula 1 pole position. I think. I've just jinxed the poor lad. He's going to end up 10th. Hamilton, 27.9 in the first, 28.0. Vettel goes second, 2/10 off his teammate still. Leclerc goes purple in the first sector, comfortably quicker than anybody. Comfortably quicker than anybody behind him. What can the two Mercedes boys do? It's going to be Valtteri Bottas, first one to the line. Can he topple Charles Leclerc? Through he comes. No, he can't. Only a 28.2 from Valtteri Bottas. What can Lewis Hamilton do? It's a 28.1. 28.1 for Hamilton. He can't do it. Charles Leclerc is on pole position for the Bahrain Grand Prix, and he's going quicker. Verstappen goes P5, but Charles Leclerc over the line does improve by just about a tenth. But Charles Leclerc gets his first ever pole position. It's a new track record as well, a 127.8. Mercedes in the end nowhere, but Vettel nearly 3/10 off his teammates' time. Lewis Hamilton third, Bottas fourth, Verstappen fifth. Stop smiling, Sean. Magnussen in 6th place, Sainz in 7th, Grosjean 8th, Raikkonen 9th, and Lando Norris in 10th. Wow. Let's just forget Leclerc for a second. What's happened behind him? Let's have a look. We know the Mercedes, Hamilton, and nothing between Hamilton and Bottas, to be fair. 7/100ths. So Bottas still on the pace of his teammate. Max Verstappen, wow, 8/10 off the Ferraris and half a second off Valtteri Bottas. Red Bull not got the 1 lap pace. What can they do in the race tomorrow? That's going to be important. Very important. Kevin Magnussen, big shout out to him. Not only 6th place, but within a second of pole and just 100th of a second, more or less, behind Max Verstappen. Big shout out to Kevin Magnussen. Very good lap. Carlos Sainz, 7th for McLaren. Brilliant performance. Is that better than Norris last time out? I think it was, wasn't it? Yes, so best qualifying for them. Within a second of pole as well. Roman Grosjean 1.1 seconds off in 8th. He's got that penalty lingering over, so that could be 13th. Kimi Raikkonen in 9th and Lando Norris 10th. The top 10 covered by 1.1 seconds. Yes, please, Formula 1. That'll do very, very nicely indeed. What a cracking session again. What a cracking session. Ferrari front row, 2nd year in a row in Bahrain, but it is Charles Leclerc, his first ever pole position in only his 2nd race for Ferrari. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. It's, a big deal. And it's pole position. Just watching him getting out the car. Looks emotional, understandably. Don't forget, with our, 2 years ago he was racing in F2 in Bahrain. He's now in pole position for Ferrari, so in Formula 1. Such a quick rise to the top end of the grid. It still surprises me sometimes that he's sat in that car, not because of, no doubt in his talent whatsoever, but just how quick he's got there. It's just so surprising. We're going to listen for a bit of reaction, then I'll end the stream, and then I'll crack straight onto the qualifying report, which, like I say, will be out around 8:30-ish UK time. So what are we at, 4 hours or so from now, after the qualifying highlights from that channel, Channel 4. That's the one, the channel that show the highlights, Channel 4 in the UK. I will say, actually, while we're just waiting for these interviews, I will say I watched the Channel 4 highlights last year. They did a great job with what they've got to work with. I'm going to give them that. Very good team over there. It's a shame they can't have some live races, but that is a discussion for another day. And I'm sure will crop up throughout this season. Lewis Hamilton doesn't look understandably particularly happy in third place. I don't think I would if I was wanting to win a sixth world title and stand in third and see a 3/10 gap to Ferrari. Can completely understand that. But one man who looks happy but chilled AF is Charles Leclerc. His first pole position, and he's not jumping around like it. I think that kind of just sums him up, doesn't it? So relaxed. So relaxed. Let's see what he says. It'd be nice to be able to play you these, but I'd be shot if I tried it. I'd imagine the response to the rest of his questions would be chill. Yep. There we go. Oh, I'll run through the grid in just a second. Just listen to see if he says anything that's worth pointing out. I don't think so. I think it's just going to be, holy hell, what's going on? Lewis Hamilton goes over to congratulate him. Smile and a wink. Sebastian Vettel with that ridiculous moustache. Each to their own, but come on. Come on. What is with that moustache? Nigel Vettel, Sebastian Mansell. Absolutely ridiculous. Fair enough, each to their own. I get some reaction from you guys. Lot, you look very happy. Where's Gasly down in 13th? I will run through the order in full in just a moment. It gives me a bit of practice. A bit of practice for later when I go through my qualifying reports. Max more. He needs more. I think Red Bull are going to be much better on race pace from what we saw in practice, but they did lose time in practice. So I don't know how costly that's going to be, but 8/10 off pole. When you think of where they were in Australia in terms of the podium, it's quite surprising seeing that far off, but maybe no party mode for Honda, as they were talking about. And if that is party mode for Honda, then they might need to go and try again and get a better party mode. How many times I say party mode there? At least 3 or 4. Thanks for the live stream, says Joseph. No worries whatsoever. Thank you very much for coming on. I love doing these. It's just great. I'm watching them anyway, so I might as well sit and commentate like a moron to you guys and keep you company and have a bit of a chat and a bit of banter as well. So if you're free tomorrow, make sure you come along for the race watch along, 3:30 for that one on my own again, and then the race reaction stream. 100% Stuart is 99% Stuart is with me. I think I asked him the other day, and I think he said yes. That's Chamber for those who are new to the channel. He'll be with us on Sunday, and I'd imagine Jonty will be around probably somewhere at some point during the stream on Sunday. So, yes. Not much. It's the usual stuff in interviews. I don't know why I listen to them, really, because it is the same old. But quick run through the order then before I disappear. 2.4k viewers apparently going to Eric, so thank you very much to everyone tuning in. Like I say, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Loads coming up for the rest of this weekend and loads coming up over the course of this season. The only weekend there won't be any content is Silverstone, because I'll be there, and even then I've got a Sky Mobile thing now and I've got like about 40 gigs to use up, so I'll probably try and live stream from there terribly. So yeah, that doesn't matter. Over to the rundown of the running order. Charles Leclerc gets his first ever Formula 1 pole position in his second race for Ferrari, a 1:27.8, nearly 3/10 quicker than teammate Sebastian Vettel. A Ferrari front row lockout for the second year in a row in the desert. Lewis Hamilton third place, 3/10 off the pole time, with his teammate just behind in fourth. Max Verstappen a long way off for Red Bull, 8/10 off pole and half a second off the Mercedes, but race pace should be better in that Red Bull Honda tomorrow, so don't give up hope, Verstappen fans. He may well be in the mix come tomorrow. Fifth place for him, sixth place, great drive again for Kevin Magnussen in qualifying today, 8/10 off pole position. Well, I'll say 9/10, let's be fair, 9/10 off pole. And Carlos Sainz in 7th, so that is a Haas and a McLaren within 1 second of pole position. What an achievement from both drivers today. Who'd have thought 6th and 7th would be exciting? 8th place for Romain Grosjean, 1.1 seconds off the pace, but he is set to face a penalty after blocking Lando Norris in, I think it was Q1, so that would see him drop at least 5 places. It might be 3 places, actually. I'm not quite sure how they do that. It's 3 or 5 as the minimum for that. Kimi Raikkonen 1.1 seconds off in 9th place, and Lando Norris once again making the top 10 shootout. 2 McLarens in the top 10 for the first time since 15-23, or what feels like a very long time ago. 1.1 off the pace, very close in that top 10. Daniel Ricciardo only 11th, 129.4, but again just a few hundredths off making it into that top 10 shootout. Alex Albon 129.5 in the Toro Rosso Honda, quicker than Pierre Gasly on a 129.5 in the Red Bull Honda. What a lap from Alex Albon, and what a disappointment for Pierre Gasly. But like I said, after Q2, just a couple of hundredths would have been enough, or a few hundredths would have been enough to see Gasly into Q3. So close, but you'd expect that Red Bull to be in there, so needs to step that up. Sergio Perez, 129.7, Kvyat, a 129.8 in 15th, and then Antonio Giovinazzi, 130.0. Nico Hülkenberg out in Q1. That was the big story in Q1. 130.0 in 17th. Lance Stroll, 130.2 in 18th. And George Russell, a 131.7 in 19th. And Robert Kubica, a 131.7. If you're a Williams fan and you want me to depress you a little bit, that is slower than they were in Q1 last year. Not good at all for Williams. It is not. It's a long old season for them. But I'm going to end it there before my voice disappears with all the excitement. I will be back, like I say, between 8 p.m. and 8:30 UK time, so about 4 hours from now, with the qualifying report. And don't forget, if you like these streams, to come along tomorrow he's, by the way, second youngest pole sitter, 21 years and 165 days, just behind Vettel, just to let you know. But I'll bring it up in the qualifying report. Live tomorrow from 3:30 p.m. UK time. Clocks go forward if you're in the UK, so don't forget. 3:30 UK time tomorrow for the race watch along, and then shortly after the race, around an hour to an hour and a half afterwards, I'll be live with a couple of guests for the post-race reaction stream and the debrief, of course, on Monday. But don't forget, you can follow me for more reaction over on social media. Links to Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and of course to Discord are all in the description down below. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean. This has been the F1 Word, and until next time, goodbye.